Hi all, this is Once and Future Gamer, and welcome to another Pokemon Challenge. Last time was a run through Gen 1 as we sought to see if I could beat Pokemon Yellow with just a single Kabuto. Check that out if you haven't already done so. Today, we carry on with Rock type month as we see if I can beat Pokemon Emerald using just a single Sudowoodo. Now then, we have a base stat total of 410, which isn't bad, with our best stats being physical defense and physical attack. HP isn't bad, special defense is pretty decent for a rock type. The average for the species is like 72, but I reckon personally that's distorted by Diancie and Carbink. Speed and special attack are both 30 and our lowest stats. We are mono rock type, so weak to fighting, ground, steel, water and grass. We resist normal, flying, poison and fire. Move-wise, there is some minor coverage. We get 2 rock moves, a fighting move, plus some normal ones. There is also feint attack, but given how bad our special attack is, I doubt we will be using that altogether too much. Double Edge could be useful because one of the abilities we could have is Rock Head. I do know exactly what is going to happen though. Via TM, we get exactly what you'd expect, with ground moves in Dig and Earthquake. There's Return as an option, Brick Break. Hey, we get Calm Mind, but absolutely no sort of benefit to it. Well, maybe as a special defense booster. We also get Sandstorm, which doesn't give us a special defense boost in this game, so virtually useless. There's not really anything too special via Move Tutor that's not better than what we already get. Predictions. Now we've not got bad stats, so the rock and fighting gyms might not be too bad. I can see the electric gym being irritating, but once that's out the way, we should be good up until the psychic gym. Then we have the water gym after, and I can see that, plus the Elite Four and Champion being quite worrying. The rules. In combat, I can only use Sudowoodo. Other Pokemon will be needed for HMs, but unable to battle. Only held items and Pokeballs in battle, but healing is permitted outside of battle. No glitches or exploits. If you do enjoy what you see, then like, subscribe and ring that bell. I use the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Mudkip with Sudowoodo, so that I can do the whole run with it. I chose to replace Mudkip so that the rival would have Trico, which on reflection might be the hardest for us to fight. We have to save Professor Birch from being savaged, and what better way than to send a big stone tree at the local vermin. After we beat the Zigzagoon by throwing rocks at it, even though the first attack we throw in the entire run misses, the Pokemon Professor is so grateful that he gives us the Sudowoodo, who we nickname Mimic. I couldn't think of anything better. Remember 2 weeks ago when I did White 2 with Geodude and Onix, and I spent the first bit of that video whining about getting Rock Head rather than Sturdy as an ability? I know exactly what's going to happen here. We'll end up with Sturdy rather than Rock Head. Sturdy was pretty useless right up until Gen 5. As it happens though, we do actually get Rock Head as an ability, so that should be pretty useful later on when we learn Double Edge. I was happy to be wrong here. We also have the Rash nature, so increased special attack and less special defense. That might be about the worst nature we could have actually gotten, if I'm honest. But hey, a little positivity I guess. I go do some grinding anyway, working on the EVs. I want attack and speed. We're slow and I want to be slightly faster. Plus, I do want to hit harder. The local Poochyena and Zigzagoon population aren't going to know what hit them. Well, spoiler alert, it was a huge rock. Well, I say I'm going to attack the Zigzagoon population. I don't see many of them. See an absolute stack of Wurmple though, which is wholeheartedly unhelpful given that's not what we want to knock out. After a while, I get to the May fight and go into that, despite getting attacked by a Poochyena on the way to her, because those things just can't keep away. When the fight does begin, we immediately miss a rock throw, as we get hit by a Leer and a Pound from Trico, and I can't help thinking it's going to be one of those runs. Our second rock throw does crit, but still the feeling is there. Rock moves tend to not be accurate. Now regarding the rock gym, I reckon I'll want to be at level 17 at least, because we get low kick then, and that should be an incredible move for purposes there. We are actually level 18 when I rock up, see what I did there, to go and face Roxanne. We low kick her fierce Geodude and it survives on about a quarter of its health before we get hit with Rock Tomb. She heals it, burning one of her potions, and then we take it out with 2 more low kicks. I wouldn't have figured Sudowoodo as a particularly nimble kicker, but here we are. Second Geodude is a similar story. We get hit with a rock tomb after we land the low kick, but we can too hit it after she heals, despite us now being slower. She tries to save herself with defense curl, but no good. Nose Pass is last and immediately uses block. You're trapped in here with me, pal, not vice versa. But we can too hit that with low kick after it also lands a tackle. Nice to have a simple Roxanne fight for once. We do a few things, but the next really major fight is the May one before leaving Rustboro to head to Dewford. And since she's here, I might as well fight her. Her team is a little worrying considering what we have, but we come out of it better. Wingull does land Growl, but does do about as well as Seagulls usually do when having big rocks dropped on them, and we take it out with Rock Throw. Trico hits an Absorb, which doesn't do that much damage, but survives our Rock Throw. We end up finishing it off with Flail when it only goes for Leer on the next turn. Let's move on. In the Dewford gym, we have Brawley next, and this one we will have a type disadvantage against, so we do need to be careful, but it shouldn't be too bad. If low kick works the way I recall, it'll do fine versus Makuhita. Machop is probably the worst opponent. It tanks our low kick and then uses bulk up. I use Mimic to learn bulk up, but get hit by a crit Karate Chop that wipes out over half our HP. I do a bulk up, getting hit by another Karate Chop in the process that leaves us on 12 HP. Machop tries to save itself with another bulk up, but we drop it with 2 flails. Meditite goes down to a single flail, our attack boosted and our health low, so no surprise there. Before, as predicted, we low kick Makuhita out of the fight for the second badge. Let's go move on. We have the Cycling Road rival fight as the next major battle, so this one is probably going to be rough. Having passed level 25 before this point, we do now have Rock Slide, which will probably be a move we keep throughout the duration of the game. The Wingull is faster and hits us with both Growl and Water Gun during our exchanges because the first Rock Slide we fling at it manages to miss. Oh, it gets better, trust me on this. We miss 2 Rock Slides versus Grovyle, who, to nobody's surprise, is faster than us, all while getting hit with Absorb attacks, which drop our health low. Still, it eventually reaches the point where we do land a Rock Slide and one-hit it at last. Slugma is her final Pokemon, and it's something that we cannot last outspeed, thankfully, and we drop it with Rock Slide. It is the Electric Gym next, and actually, this one might not be that simple. We're not immune to electricity or being paralysed, and given that we might be slower than some of Watson's Pokemon, we're likely going to end up being zapped. So, this will require a portion of my cunning. I wish I had a better normal type move than Flail, but I doubt that'll be a factor in this battle. We begin the fight. So, Voltorb is faster and paralyses us first turn with Spark. We heal with our Berry, but Rock Slide misses. Repeatedly throughout the course of this fight. I'm not even joking. Rock Slide misses like 4 times over the course of this battle. During which point, we take a massive damage due to Spark attacks. We do land one on Voltorb eventually, but we have the same issue when the Electrike comes out. Now, it does go for Howl a lot, which helps us, but it still doesn't do a lot for my blood pressure when our attacks keep missing. Magneton, eventually, when we get to it, is a one-hit with low kick when that comes out, which is really good to know, but thanks to that hitting Shockwave on us, we are so weak that when we go into the final round with Manectric, that it can outspeed us and finish us off relatively easily. I make a second attempt straight after, because if our moves had landed there, that would have been an entirely different fight. Again, when we begin, Voltorb paralyses us on the first turn with Spark, prompting us to pop our Berry, which is aggravating, as I at least hoped to save it for Magneton. We do drop it with our first Rock Slide though, so that's good. Electrike goes down to our first Rock Slide, which is also good. Magneton does paralyse us with Thunder Wave and we can't move immediately after, which isn't good, but then, to rub salt into our wounds, it then hits a crit shockwave before we drop it with Low Kick. Manectric is last, and thankfully, all it does is howl twice as our first turn paralysis kicks in, but on the second turn, we take it out with Rock Slide. Phew! 3 badges down. I realise as I get to the maxi fight at Mount Chimney, I never picked up the bike in Moreville, but I can remedy that later. We are building up nice momentum ahead of the fight with the Team Magma leader. His first Pokemon is Mighty Hyena, and we immediately get hit with Intimidate, which is going to be a problem. Even then, it only narrowly survives Rock Slide and hits us with Bite, but despite a heal, we can finish it with Low Kick. Next is Camerupt, and again, it only narrowly survives our attack, landing on red health from our Low Kick. It goes for Focus Energy, he heals it, and our Low Kick takes it out with a crit. Last is Zubat, and we Rock Slide it down for a win. Moving on then. The Fire Gym is next, and I'm not especially concerned with this one. We will resist the moves and be able to inflict super effective damage on Flannery's Pokemon. So, let's get down to brass tacks then. I always get worried that I'm going to lose my way in here, but it's a relatively smooth journey to face the feisty Ginger. First up is Numel, and we one-hit it with Secret Power. 1 down, relatively simple. Next is Slugma, and that gets taken out with a single Secret Power. Camerupt is third, and though it does survive our Secret Power with a pretty decent chunk of health left, we paralyse it and the status condition stops it from moving, meaning we can finish it with Low Kick. Last is Torkoal, and it is a simple matter to take it out with a Rock Slide, meaning we have a smooth Flannery fight for once. Next is the normal gym and the fight with Norman. So, I suppose we'll have to see how this goes. With Low Kick, we do have a super effective move, so that's something. And I think Slacking is pretty heavy, so we will have to see if we can do some damage. This goes so incredibly badly that it's not even funny. He begins with Spinder, and we immediately miss our Rock Slide and get hit with Psybeam. Thankfully, it is minimal damage and no confusion, and we take it out at the second attempt. Next is his Slacking though, and I confidently fire a Low Kick into it for massive damage that leaves it on red health, only for us to then get hit with Counter and go down pretty hard. Now that didn't go to plan. I try again straight after. I don't consider that a problem result if I'm honest. I know that's an option now and can plan for it. Fool me once, shame on him. Fool me twice, you know the rest. We clatter Spinder with Secret Power, which gives us an early win. I go for Mimic, there's a Slacking, which fails, but so does the counter it uses on us. Our Low Kick puts it in red health while it's loafing around, before it eats the Citrus Berry to take it out of healing range, and we duly finish it with another Low Kick. Vigoroth is also a one-hit knockout with Low Kick, though we do get hit with Feint Attack for minimal damage. Probably the worst opponent is Lanoon, as it keeps headbutting and flinching us. We are slower, so that's the risk. Of course, it can't do this forever, and after it does meagre damage and flinching on 2 turns, he goes for Belly Drum and we steal in to take it out with Secret Power. After some travelling, the next major fight is the May one outside the Weather Institute. Now I'm not too worried about this, and it turns out I'm right to be confident. Slugma goes down to Secret Power, and that's no surprise, it is a Slugma after all. Lombre does some trickery with Fake Out and Absorb, no doubt faster thanks to Swift Swim in the rain, but when we do go and land a Secret Power on it, that turns out to be a pretty devastating blow that they don't come back from. Last is Grovyle, who hits Screech, and then we smash it down with Secret Power for a win. Moving on then. The Flying Gym is next, and it is time for the fight with Winona. There's the usual concern about Pelipper, Skarmory, and maybe Tropius, maybe Altaria with Earthquake, but I think we should be able to weather what comes our way. I always worry more about Winona than I think I usually need to. Anyway, Swablu is a one-hit with Secret Power. That one is usually simple. Tropius is a one hit with Rock Slide, and that essentially removes that as a threat before it can Solar Beam us. Pelipper is third and blocks our secret power, and Rock Slide with Protect, because Winona's Pelipper is never concerned about attacking, more about being a pain in the ass. I figured 1 Protect would come, but 2? Our third attack, our second Rock Slide, drops it. Altaria is next, and we are faster. We drop it with Rock Slide before Skarmory is last, and once again, we click on Rock Slide and we drop our opponent for a win and the 6th badge. I do a lot of story stuff now, and while I am, let's talk about what's been ongoing with the channel. In the week just gone, we had a bit of a difference from what the schedule has been over the last few weeks, largely due to me being unable to record new Let's Play content due to circumstances at home. Nothing bad, just not really being able to get the time to do it. So, we had episode 10 of Pokemon Insurgence, which is the last episode I had recorded of that. We'll probably look to do some more of that down the line. We had episode 19 and 20 of Skyward Sword. I've still got a few episodes of that in my folder for the future. There was episodes 9 and 10 of Resident Evil Remake. I've got 1 episode left of that. I did start recording the playthrough of RE2 Remake, but there were some technical issues where OBS decided to crash 2 minutes into the opening movie, and so I gave it up as a bad job for that day. There was also episode 40 of Pokemon Violet, and that's the last episode of that for the time being. I mean, if they do DLC, as everyone seems to believe that they're going to do, then I'll come back to it for that. I need to get recording more Let's Play stuff, as I have a few episodes of Skyward Sword in the bank, plus 2 random episodes with a playthrough of Spyro 2. Challenge-wise, next time it is Pokemon Fire Red with a single Nose Pass, which should give me a lot of the same moments of thought as this challenge has, because Nose Pass and Sudowoodo are pretty similar. Single stage rock types that got changed in Gen 4. Only Nose Pass got an evolution and Sudowoodo got a baby form. As always, if you have any ideas for future challenges, hit the comment section down below or follow the links in the description to my Twitter or my Discord. Oh, and if you want to support the channel, there's also a link to my Patreon down there, but regardless, as always, thanks for watching. Next up is the second fight with Maxie in the Magma base. We're weary after fighting through the Magma grunts, so I guess we'll have to see how this goes. He shouldn't be an issue. We have Double Edge come this point, which will probably be one of our main moves going forward, since we don't have to worry about recoil. Versus Mightyena, after being intimidated, we hit a Double Edge, which the Dark Doggo survives, and then blasts us with a scary face to make us slower. Thanks, Maxie. He heals with a Super Potion. We drop him with a Low Kick. Camerupt is a 2-hit with Low Kick, only going for Amnesia, and despite Maxie's best efforts to save it with another Super Potion. Crobat is a frigging pain though, as it flinches us with Bite, and then lands a Confuse Ray. How many times did we hit ourselves in confusion in a row, do you ask? 4? You're absolutely spot on. All while we're getting hit with bites and punching ourselves in the face. This is irksome, but eventually, and I do say that through gritted teeth, we shake the confusion off and drop Crobat with Rock Slide for a win and the chance to move on. In Lily Cove, there's a fight with May. I figure I'll do this while I'm here, just in case, as per usual, if I want to access the department store. The fight goes swiftly as we double edge our way through the entire team, though I do wonder what happened to her Lombre. We face Tropius and I swiftly drop it with a double edge for a knockout. Grovyle also goes down to double edge in pretty quick fashion, before in the next round of the fight we do the same thing to Slugma. Pelipper does its usual cheap tactics of protecting to survive our double edge, but we hit it at the second attempt to drop it hard. Those things are irritating in Hoenn, I'll say it. We've got here then, time for the Psychic Gym, and I'll have to admit to a little worry because this is very rarely a straightforward fight. How do I think this will go? Well, we are a little on the slow side, but we do have a rock move that can hit both opponents in a double battle, so that's good. Only Claydol resists rock in this team. Zato is weak to the type, Solrock and Lunatone take neutral damage. Plus, there is the chance of flinching. If we can take Claydol down, I think we'll have joy. Even then, I don't think Earthquake will hurt us that much. We have good defence and Claydol isn't that powerful an attacker. Let's see. You know what? This first attempt doesn't go too bad. We get the rock slide off, first turn, we one-hit Xatu and flinch Claydol before the Soul Rock comes in. Our rock slide misses Claydol on the next turn and does decent damage to Soul Rock before the Earthquake hits us for maybe a fifth of our health. I take Claydol out with Double Edge and then start to hammer Soul Rock and the newly arrived Lunatone with rock slides. They do decent damage to the point that we do knock Soul Rock out eventually, but what we don't get anymore is flinches, which ruins our strategy, since those psychic attacks hurt a lot, and taking 2 at a time is pretty devastating for our health. We probably get Lunatone into knockout range when it and Mimic are the last Pokemon standing, but unfortunately, we go down. I come back shortly after at level 66, a bit more confident. I don't get any real flinch luck in this fight, but there are a few moments that go for me, and that's ultimately what gives me the result. Xatu blasts Wynaut with Psychic, but we take it out with Rock Slide in retaliation, as well as inflicting damage on Claydol. We have the Lax Incense on, and one of Claydol's Earthquakes misses us about the same time Soul Rock comes out, and I keep dropping Rock Slides on them. 2 more Rock Slides being enough to wreck Claydol. The second one in that sequence being a vital crit that takes it out of the fight, all while we keep smashing into Soul Rock. It does get healed eventually, which isn't ideal, but one of our Rock Slides crits to take the Lunatone out before it can start to do some damage. One Psychic attack does lower our special defence, so it is a good thing we got these crits, as we also end the fight with a crit Rock Slide on Soul Rock, and that gives us the 7th badge. I may utilise Calm Mind going forward as well for a water defence. Next real major fight is the one with Archie in the Undersea Cavern, so we've got that to get out of the way. I'm not too worried here. The Oras one a few weeks back was more terrifying, and after all, it's not like he has water moves to hurt us. Mightyena survives Double Edge and then goes for takedown, though unfortunately the recoil doesn't knock it out thanks to our defences. He heals it up with a super potion, but we finish it with low kick. Crobat is out next. It goes for a bite but doesn't flinch us, thankfully, and we take it out with a rock slide. Sharpedo uses Swagger and Taunt on us, which isn't helpful. We hit ourselves in Confusion, but not debilitatingly so, and we shake Confusion off next turn to land a knockout blow with Double Edge. Water Gym next, and it's time for the fight with the one and only. This could be incredibly painful, I'm not going to lie. I am worried about his Kingdra, as this has potential to be a massively annoying opponent. Mind you, my idea about the way this fight is going to go turns out to be false as it gets underway. I never saw it playing out the way that it did. He begins with Love Disc, and on the first turn it hits Water Pulse and confuses us. You might be able to guess exactly what happens next. Remember that Crobat fight earlier? Yep, we never get the chance to attack, just hitting ourselves in confusion a whole bunch of times in a row, all while getting smashed with Water Pulse attacks at the same time, which means that we take a very slow loss on the first round of the fight. That was problematic. But we shouldn't have a problem if we don't get confused, right? That proves to be correct, as on the very next effort, Love Disc doesn't confuse us with Water Pulse, doing about 30 points of health instead, but we one-hit that with Double Edge, so that's a bit of sweet retribution right there. It is slightly over a year ago that I did Pokemon Fire Red with a single Love Disc for Valentine's Day 2022. Time flies, huh? Celio goes down to low kick before the Crawdont is out next, and we smash that with a Double Edge to give us a victory there. Kingdra is next though, and unfortunately it is faster than us and likes to spam Double Team. Double unfortunately, it survives our Double Edge, meaning that he can heal it all day. I do mimic Double Team and use a few of them, but Kingdra only really misses one attack, while plenty of ours miss. Go work that one out because it leaves a truly dirty taste in the mouth, I know that much. The fact that we just miss out on knocking it out is irksome, and eventually we do go down, meaning that I need to rethink my strategy. I'm going to go get a few more levels and see if we can tip a narrow survival into a one-hit knockout on Kingdra. I come back at level 73, curious if this will be a tipping point or not. The lack of the shell bell is killing me, given that I can't get the ingredients thanks to real world time at the moment, so hopefully that doesn't turn out to be a problem long term. The first bit of the fight turns out to be quite similar, as we get hit with the water pulse from Love Disc, but don't get confused. Thankfully! We down it with Double Edge, and then we move on to Celio, who is also dispatched very easily. Crawdont, out first, is also easily taken care of with our Double Edge, and that brings us to Hoenn's Kingdra, and words cannot be expressed as to just how much I hate this thing. It still narrowly survives our Double Edge, and about the only thing that can be said is that with him trying to keep it alive, he never really attacks us. Between double teams and him burning hyper potions to keep the Kingdra alive, we can get some blows in. Often debilitating ones that leave the Kingdra in red health, only for him to use rest or the potion to bring it back to life. The killer blow evades us consistently. We do land some attacks, but eventually, with that Kingdra asleep, we do step up and take it out with 2 low kicks, which is absolute massive relief. Whiskash at the last is a one-hit knockout with Double Edge, and just like that, we've got all the badges. Next major fight is the one with Wally, and I'll be sure to take him entirely seriously. I need to look at our moveset if I'm honest. I don't know why I still have Mimic, and it's either Brick Break or Earthquake to replace Low Kick. I go with the latter, plus getting Calm Mind for special defense boosts. Versus Wally, we drop Altaria with Rock Slide on the first turn for an early knockout, before Roselia is the next to emerge from the Pokeball, and that goes down to Double Edge. Next is Delcatty, who goes down in such a similar way, being clocked by Double Edge, before Magneton comes out and immediately goes down to our new Earthquake. Last is Gardevoir, who vainly tries to go for Future Sight, but we don't give it chance to land and down it with a crit Double Edge. I get to Evergrande City at level 78, and here are our stats at that level. Defense and attack are good, as expected. Special defense isn't terrifyingly bad, but I do worry a lot about that speed. I think we've got as good coverage as we're going to get. I don't know if we can do this without the Shell Bell, but I'll make a good try at it, I suppose. Now, if you want, take your guesses on if we can do it at this level or not, right now, folks. Dark Trainer Sydney is first, and because he begins with a Mightyena who has Intimidate, we are going to be working at a disadvantage before things even truly begin to get started. So this is not going to be fun. This is perhaps the place where Brick Break would have been better than Earthquake. What happens next is perhaps one of the most infuriating battles I genuinely have ever had in one of these challenges, and come the end of it, I'd be very happy to inflict some grievous bodily harm on Sydney. Mightyena is first and it survives our Double Edge before hitting Sand Attack. He heals it, we miss a Double Edge and then land the move at the second attempt to drop Mightyena. Cacturn goes down to Double Edge and we take Crawdont out with 2 of the same moves, which is pretty good because it was going for Swords Dance. Something was brewing right there. Then Shiftry, and this is where things get really, really annoying. Remember, we've already been Sand Attacked. We land a Double Edge and then Shiftry goes for Double Team. He heals and just keeps on going for Double Team until his evasion is maxed out, even throwing a few swaggers in there for even more irritation, as well as Torment. So, all in all, we must throw well over a dozen Double Edges at this thing, and probably about 5 Rock Slides as well when the Torment comes into play. We never hit ourselves in confusion, which is nothing short of remarkable, but this is infuriating. Eventually, it starts hitting extrasensory attacks, which do decent damage, and start to wear us down until finally we land a double edge and inflict life-threatening injuries on the Shiftry to render it unable to fight. Last is Absol, who goes down to Earthquake. That was horrible. Luckily, I've got the win now. If I have to do it again at a higher level, things should be smoother. It doesn't get easier as Ghost Trainer Phoebe is next, so all that double edge PP we wasted, it's not like we're actually going to need it here. I'm worried about doing enough damage here because Curse is a factor, as well as Dusclops 1 and 2, both having the pressure ability to drain our PP. This actually doesn't go that bad. I know Dusclops will protect first turn, so I go for a Calm Mind before hitting it with an Earthquake on the second turn, which it actually survives. She heals it, but we drop it with Rock Slide on turn 3. The second Dusclops survives Rock Slide on red health, but eats the berry, and we can finish it off with Earthquake after getting a fortunate flinch for the win. Bayonet number 1 goes down to Earthquake before Sableye is 4th, and we take that out with a crit Earthquake before the second Bayonet is defeated with the same move. Earthquake wrecks it hard and we take the victory. That was a simple Phoebe fight. So far we've had easy fights against Flannery and Phoebe in this run, plus a relatively simple Psychic Gym. What is going on with the way this run is playing out? Glacier is next, and we can do super effective damage to her with our rock move, but unfortunately 3 of her Pokemon are also water type, so this is going to be very rough indeed if we get smote with something super effective. And remember, no health recovery, so we need to stand tough. Her first Celio goes down to a single Rock Slide, so that is a pretty good start if I'm honest. Her next Pokemon though is Walrein, and as I half expected to happen sooner or later, Rock Slide misses and we get hit with massive damage by Surf. We survive on yellow health and land our second Rock Slide to take it out. Glalie number 1 is faster, but only goes for Light Screen. Bad move, pal, and we drop it with Rock Slide. The second Celio goes down to Rock Slide before the final fight is against the second Glalie, and we take it out with Rock Slide despite it putting the hail up before we move. 3 down, 2 to go. Dragon Trainer Drake is next, and this could be rough. He uses a lot of different tactics, so I think there's a chance we might not be able to do this right now. All we can do is try and see what happens. His Shelgon is a pain, as I'm expecting Protect at the first turn and go for Calm Mind accordingly, but we get hit with Rock Tomb that makes us slower than Shelgon. That does not bode well for the rest of the fight. I go for another Calm Mind, and that at least proves beneficial, as this time it goes to Protect. Our Rock Slide misses before a second Rock Slide hits the Protect. Dragon Claw does a surprising amount of damage considering we have 2 Calm Minds up and Shelgon is really not a special attacker, but our Rock Slide eventually does land, failing to knock it out, and we have to go again when he heals it, which is most aggravating as we get clumped with Double Edge 2. Eventually we take it out, but it's really not a clever fight. Kingdra is next. It goes for Dragon Dance and survives our Double Edge before we tank the Surf relatively well and finish that with a second Double Edge. Flygon is the issue though, as we get 2 hit with Earthquake and can't quite knock it out with Double Edge. Didn't go to plan that. I'm going to go get some more levels and take it from there. Probably come back with the Shell Bell too. I didn't manage to get the Shell Bell thanks to IRL stuff, but I do get back at level 86 and I'm hoping this might be a tipping point. We do well versus Shelgon this time, coming out of that round unscathed as it goes for the first turn Protect while we go for Calm Mind. We can one-hit it with Double Edge, which is fine, though the problems come versus Kingdra as it smoke screens us on the first turn. We land a Double Edge, which it survives, going for another Calm Mind while Drake heals it. And then, of course, after we land another Double Edge to put it back in red health, we miss 4 killing blows. while it smashes us with repeated surf attacks, which don't do us a whole lot of good. We do eventually drop the Kingdra, but Flygon can come in and smash us with Earthquake for a swift knockout. I fight back at level 94. I think I just want to go for overwhelming force come this point. We should be able to one-hit Kingdra now, I hope. Everything crossed. This effort starts off badly when I misjudge the Shelgon. It goes for Rock Tomb rather than the Protect, and while we're Calm Minding, that's not good. I get a second Calm Mind up when it protects second turn, and then I drop it with Double Edge. Kingdra goes for Dragon Dance, and then we one-hit that with Double Edge. For the first time in an eternity, the Lax Incense comes into play versus Flygon. It misses Earthquake, and then we drop it with Double Edge. Altaria is a one-hit with Rock Slide when that comes out, and finally is Salamence. It fires and Intimidate at us, then hits a Dragon Claw, which we shrug off before we drop it with Rock Slide for a win. Wallace then. Still no Shell Bell, but I have to at least try here and see what happens. I have the first vestiges of a plan, but I wonder how many efforts it'll take to get some success with it. If I even can at this point with the stuff I have is a question. Let's see. The first time, yeah. We do perfect versus Wailord. It just survives our Rock Slide, and while he's healing it, I can leave it weak enough that it can't do much damage to us while I boost our special defense with Calm Mind, getting 6 of them off in pretty rapid succession, while it does minimal damage to us with Water Spouts and Blizzard. I feel pretty good, and then he sends in Gyarados next to wreck our physical attack with Intimidate. That immediately wipes the smirk off my face as we get hit with Earthquake. We drop it with Rock Slide, but the damage has started to be done as Tentacruel comes in and hits us with Toxic. Worse, we can't drop it with Double Edge. Why didn't I use Earthquake? That occurred to me in hindsight, and thanks to him healing and hitting us with Hydro Pump, we take massive damage over the course of the fight. We do eventually drop Tentacruel, but we can't take Ludicolo out with Double Edge, and the poison damage ends us. I need health recovery, plain and simple. I'm going to get the Shell Bell, max my level, and then take it from there. I get to level 100 and also have the Shell Bell. So with that, here are the stats we've got to work with. So, let's see how many times we have to do this. I think I'm going to do a bit of recon first, see how things play out. I need to work out what we can outspeed and what we can tank and the like. Wailord is first, and I can't use the same strategy as before, so I go for a Calm Mind to see what happens. It goes for Water Spout and does about 100 points of damage. I think we can take another attack, so I go for another Calm Mind, but it goes for Rain Dance. My nerve goes and I go to clatter it out with Double Edge, and I do get like 40 points of health back thanks to the Shell Bell. Gyarados is out next and it is still faster. We get intimidated, and thanks to the rain we also get smashed with Surf, but that isn't too bad as we wreck it with Rock Slide for a second knockout. Tentacruel is next and hits us with Hydro Pump, but we do shrug it off and down it with Earthquake. Toxic would have been worse, so we got lucky there. Ludicolo is faster than us in the rain and hits Surf to put us in red health, but survives our Double Edge on red health itself. We get some health back thanks to the Shell Bell. He heals it, we hit it with Double Edge, it survives, and we get some Shell Bell health back. For the second time, he heals it, we hit it with a third Double Edge, it survives, and we get some Shell Bell health back. For the third time, he heals it, and then it survives our Double Edge on red health, and you get the idea, before we drop it with a probably unnecessary crit Double Edge. My low tick is next. I'm shocked that we're faster, and we drop it with a crit Double Edge, which is a very nice surprise indeed, before the Whiscash is last. It survives our Double Edge, only to go for Amnesia. He heals it with what has to be his last full restore, probably just to be awkward at this point. But we hit it with another double edge to put it back on red health, and then we finish it with a second double edge to give us that win, meaning that we have beaten the champion, and me and my fake tree can head into the Hall of Fame and be immortalised forever in the annals of Hoenn. Oh wow, that was a barnstorming end, and I didn't expect it to go that way. I was right though, you know. I definitely don't think there was any way that we did that without the health recovery. That was nowhere near as painful as I thought it could have been. Thanks for watching, folks. I hope you enjoyed. As always, if you did, then please leave a like, come out with a comment, and smash that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. Let's help the channel grow. Anything you do for this video is good for the YouTube algorithm. If you have any ideas for future challenges, you can leave them in the comment section or follow the links in the description to my Twitter or my Discord. I'm always happy to see what you come up with. And as always, if you want to support the channel, there's a Patreon link in there too. Join me again next week as we head into Gen 3 Kanto and see if I can beat Pokemon Fire Red with just a single nose pass. That one is sure to be interesting as we continue Rock-type Pokemon month. What's going on with me? Just another week down, not being a bad one. My other half likes the Valentine's Day gifts. She got me a cool Pokemon t-shirt that I'll probably wear on stream at some point, as well as a Simpsons hoodie from the episode where Homer goes to work for a supervillain. It's one of my favourite episodes. Feeling blessed if I'm honest, and lucky. I still feel like 2023 is going to be a good year. Upcoming surgery aside, which hopefully doesn't turn out badly wrong. I'll discuss more about that closer to the time. I'm going to dive out here. I've prattled on long enough. Thanks for watching, folks. As always, this has been Once and Future Gamer, and this has been Pokemon Emerald with a single Sudowoodo. Take care now, folks. Have a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye now. So long. See ya.